Hi, I'll quickly explain this coloured images Excel sheet. Um, yeah, it's pretty horrible looking, really, isn't it? It's a very scary Excel sheet. Let's just unhide this. So this is our participant data along the top. I'm just highlighting the title, the column titles. Yeah, it looked absolutely monstrous, doesn't it? So, anyway, this is a color, this is a color. That number is our color system converted to numbers. Our color system, I think, is hexadecimal, I think. I don't recall what it's called, but uh, for some reason my software outputted the color as a number, but that's just inconsequential because there's a I put up a lookup table. There's a lookup table somewhere which oh, I don't know where it is. Somewhere I've given you a table which shows you how to convert those numbers to colours, and you don't need to know that anyway because I've done it for you later on. So okay, in that experiment, recall that we had two identical images on the screen. Here we have bucket and bucket. One bucket was coloured, in this case 298 dot dot dot. This other bucket was coloured 159 dot dot dot. It so happened that bucket B was selected, and bucket B, rather confusingly, is labelled C2. If a person had picked bucket A, that would have been C1. This is a slight mismatch of uh, sequential labeling, A, B versus 1, 2. Yeah, so recall we have a whole number of different stimuli, a whole number of different pictures. Here we have a light top. I don't even know what that is, but likewise we have two colours for light top and the colour that was selected. Essentially, that's all we need to know. We need to know what the light top is, sorry, what the two colours are, what the stimulus was, and what stimulus was selected. But there's another column here which it just provides a backup of some information. I really hate losing data. So I'm just going to hide all that data, 118 people again, just to shrink this down. And what I did was I converted this very, very long table to, instead of being horizontally long, to make it vertically long. So we now have, instead of 5 to 122 rows, we now have 128 to 4,000-ish, what are they called, rows. And I just did this to make hell of a lot easier to explore the data. And a lot of this is just rubbish, really. It's a lot of these columns of information are just me adding extra information because I thought it might have been useful for other types of analyses. Before that, before I discovered that very annoying error in the program, which I really do apologise for. That's a very frustrating mistake of mine. But anyway, let's just go through this. So we have the essential pieces of information are stimulus, light bucket, light top, the colour that's, the two colours that they were, blue, green and red, and the colour that was picked. So these guys are the essential pieces of information. Now what we can go on and further do is extrapolate whether or not the stimulus was light in weight or heavy in weight. So that's what this column here is. Now what I did was, similar to the previous analysis, it was just a very simple analysis. Oh, I'm just thinking off the top of my head here, what on earth did I do? Let me pause it for a sec. Okay, I recalled. Sorry. Here we go. is actually super simple. I took the all the stimuli that were heavy and all the stimuli that were light, and I simply wanted to know let's pause it again. Sorry, I simply wanted to know whether or not blue, green or red first of all was I wanted to know the heaviness of these from the rainbow drag um, experiment. So here we have the weights of one and the weights of the other, and then all I did was I had a huge big long list, list of all the stimuli, which were all the visual pictures which were light and selected, and all of those weights for those, and likewise another huge long list of stimuli, of weightings for all the coloured objects. And if it's the case that coloured heavy objects are indeed seen as heavier, well, colours if the weightings actually from the rainbow drag task anyway, they're deemed as heavier, we should expect that more heavier colours will be selected for heavier stimuli, likewise more lighter colours for lighter stimuli. So we should actually see a difference in terms of the mean heaviness, as it were, between these two groups of stimuli, and that's what this graph is. So 0 light, 1 heavy. Is heavy is not a very good descriptor, and here we have the weights of the weight, as it were, of the combined colours, and you could say that if we did not have these error bars, you would see that indeed heavier stimuli end up being slightly indeed heavier than lighter stimuli, but these huge error bars leave no room for misinterpretation. There's most likely no effect here, even if we collected far more data. Anyway, I hope this rambling has kind of conveyed what I was on about here. I think it's to be really expected though, because all of our stimuli are very well known. I mean, here we go. We have light wool, and wool has some very characteristic colours which are recalled to your mind when you think about wool. I, for example, think of woolly jumpers and kind of natural browny colours, light balloons, red, blue, for example, and these colours which are summoned to mind when you think of these images. I mean, I'm fairly sure would interfere with any selection of what we perceive as heavier. Anyway, it's for a future experiment to explore.